Hey guys, so today I am gonna be teaching you how to make the world's best sandwich bread. And I can guarantee you that you can do this. I don't care if you've never made bread before. This is so easy. I learned how to do this from a video that I'm gonna link down below, but I just wanted to share this recipe with you guys. There is a way that you can make this without a stand mixer. You can do it all by hand with like stretch and folds. I'm gonna have that video linked down in the description. This is just a way for me to share this recipe that will help you if you're feeling a little apprehensive towards making bread, a way to make the easiest sandwich bread that is light, fluffy, soft, perfect for slicing for sandwiches, amazing for toast, amazing for French toast, literally everything. And it's so simple, especially if you're working with a budget. If you buy these ingredients, you can make so many loaves of bread. You're gonna want a loaf pan for this. You can make a lot of loaves of bread in just like a Dutch oven, but this one specifically, sandwich bread, you wanna have this guy right here. You don't have to have this specific pan. If you want it, I'll link it down below. You wanna grease this pan and line the bottom of it with a little bit of parchment. You can wait to do this step till later because you're not gonna actually need this pan for a while, but I just wanna have everything ready so that I can not have to worry about this later when my kiddo gets home. So first what we're gonna do is we're gonna take 1 cup of milk plus 3 tablespoons of milk. And in a glass cup or bowl or measuring cup, I'm just gonna put that in the microwave for about 30 seconds, and then I'm gonna stir it and then give it another 30 seconds until it's warm. You don't want it to be hot and to scald the yeast. Like I would say bath water warm. So into that warm milk, you're gonna wanna add a teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and 2 teaspoons of instant yeast. Now, this is the part that I feel like people often do active dry yeast, as I was one of those people. You can do whatever you want, but instant yeast has cured all of my yeast issues. Not that I was having a lot of yeast issues, but when you go to try to make bread, you'll notice that it's either not working or it isn't rising correctly or you're having issues. I noticed that a lot of people just say yeast, but what they mean is instant yeast. Almost every recipe that I've seen, that I've come across online, meant instant yeast. They did not mean active dry. The difference is that I believe instant yeast is already like activated, whereas active dry, you have to like activate it with sugar. So I'm gonna let that sit there for a minute. Like I said, I'm gonna be using a stand mixer for this, but if you don't have a KitchenAid mixer, you don't have to. Again, I'm gonna link it down below of how you can do it without a mixer. So the flour you're gonna wanna use for this is bread flour. Another thing I think a lot of people don't know, I learned this actually in baking class, you don't wanna scoop your flour from the bag directly. You wanna scoop it into another container and then put it into your main one. So like if you need 1 cup of flour, you don't wanna just scoop into the flour because it will compact the flour and then you'll have a way too much of an amount. So you see how it's just like loosely in the cup? That is a correct 1 cup measurement. So I'm gonna put that straight into there. Packed flour would make it so the flour and liquid ratio was off. I pretty much, as far as I know, every time you see a recipe and it calls for flour, it wants you to do it like this. And nobody ever specifies that unless you like take a cooking class, which who's doing that? I did in high school, but like, come on. So you're gonna want 3 cups of bread flour. So you're gonna wanna put your dough hook on there and you're gonna wanna incorporate your wet ingredients in and mix on medium until the dough comes together. Then once the dough has come together, you're gonna increase the speed to high and mix, and this is going to knead the dough for you. This is how you're reducing the need to knead. So we're gonna go to high. We're just gonna let it knead our dough for the next 3 minutes. All right, so at this point, it should have pretty much pulled away from the sides and it'll be a well, not relatively, a pretty stinking tacky dough. So we are gonna unhook it from over here and take it to our work area. So you're gonna wanna oil your hands and oil a bowl. I used olive oil for this, just a little bit in the bottom so it doesn't stick. Then we're gonna grab out the dough. We're gonna form it into a ball and let it rest for 2 hours. So the best way to do this at this point, this is why you oil your hands, is just sort of fold it under itself until the top is a ball. It's very sticky. That's okay, no big deal. And then you're gonna just set it in the bowl. All right, now you are going to cover this bowl and let it sit for 2 hours to rise. And it's gonna significantly rise during that time. It can really depend on the warmth of your house. A lot of people's houses are pretty warm right now, but if you have AC, it can take a little while longer. So we're gonna leave this for 2 hours and I will see you then. Now what you're gonna do is you're going to lightly flour a clean work surface. And then I'm gonna actually lightly flour my rolling pin as well. You're gonna roll it out. The reason you want your loaf pan right here is because you wanna see roughly the width. You're gonna kind of stretch it to the width of the pan and roll it out to a rectangle shape. And then you're gonna take that you're gonna roll it up. You're gonna kind of tuck it in and set it into your loaf pan. And then you can kind of press it down. You don't have to. And then you're going to loosely cover this. You don't need this to be tight. You just wanna gently set it on top. And we're just gonna leave this here for about an hour. It might take like an hour and 15 minutes. It's gonna rise up above this. You're gonna see it's gonna look like a sandwich bread loaf. All right, so this is after rising for about an hour and 20 minutes, I would say. I could let this go a little bit higher, but for the fact that it's 9:15 p.m., I'm just gonna bake this. So you wanna be gentle with removing this wrapper so you don't like deflate your bread. You wanna preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Bake this for exactly 25 minutes. It is the next morning. I just cut into the bread and it's awesome. It turned out absolutely perfectly. It's so beautiful. When I was rising the bread yesterday, my house is like 67 degrees and bread rises much better in a warmer environment. So had I put it in an oven that was off or even into my microwave or somewhere, it would have risen so much faster and so much better. So I'm gonna make a second loaf of bread this morning and let it rise in a warm environment, and I'm gonna let it rise above the tin. So this is perfectly acceptable. This is great sandwich bread. As you can see, it's fluffy, it's soft. I wanna show you the full potential of this bread, so we'll be right back. All right, so I did make a second loaf of bread this morning. This is the one that I made yesterday for you guys that I let proof, and it was just a little bit of a colder temperature. And then this one is taller and sort of more as I would have hoped it would be. And I made that one this morning. So very flexible, very lovely, perfect for sandwich bread. My husband and son ate some this morning for toast and it was perfect. He said it tasted amazing. So even though this one was a little bit less proofed than I would have liked, it ended up being great. So that is the perfect sandwich bread. It turns out perfect every time so far, other than not letting this one fully rise. But as you can see, this is a much more sandwich bread shape. Like I said, I'm gonna have the recipe down in the description. I'm also gonna have the video of the gal that I learned this from, so you can watch that video. It explains all of the process of it much better than me. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will see you tomorrow.